So this week I wanted to start things off with a new segment. What's new with you? Curtis, what's new with you?
Oh, wow.
That's all we have time for this week. Stick around next week and we might learn what happened to Ryan. I hope you edit that as choppy as you can.
Okay.
I had that bit planned out yesterday.
Of course you did.
Very good. It's a good surprise. Thank you. All right.
That's right, I didn't even tell Ryan.
So we're talking about
This movie.
this movie, and it's not called Live, Die, Repeat.
I forget which title was the original. I just know that they changed it.
I think Edge of Tomorrow was the original title.
Oh, but they did change it to Live, Die, Repeat?
Well,
I don't
in their
know.
marketing, they changed it.
Ah.
I don't think it was officially changed, but their marketing became Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I'm Noah,
I'm Ryan.
I'm Curtis.
Welcome. We are.
in the most disjointed beginning that we've ever done,
Yeah.
Ever?
ever,
Perhaps.
thus keeping our inconsistency levels high. I know you'll appreciate that, Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This episode might be released tomorrow. Who knows?
Ooh.
Whoa!
I need to post the
Last
episode. I posted the Star Trek In the Mirror
11?
Darkly.
two. Yeah.
I already posted that one. I need to now post the other one.
Right.
So then, yes.
Well, our numbering convention has been getting more consistency. We have to introduce inconsistencies elsewhere
Okay.
to compensate. Because you've now had 3 numbers.
I know, 3 actual numbers.
Oh.
Well, I thought about going back and
It's fine.
and editing them, but
Nah.
yeah.
Nah. Like I said, we'll just have to compensate.
We'll have to. Maybe we'll issue an apology saying that we ran
An
out
official
of.
apology.
Yeah. Sorry, we couldn't be as inconsistent with the numbers as we had been previously.
Well, speaking of consistency, Allie and I finally finished Cheers,
Okay.
and so we've consistently finished that series, and now we've moved on to Community,
That's a good show.
That's
Yeah.
a great show.
watching a couple episodes every night. So
6 seasons.
the other night I watched the paintball episode, first paintball episode.
Ah, Modern Warfare.
Yes.
Yes.
What did she think of it?
I think Allie was asleep for the paintball episode,
Oh.
unfortunately.
Modern Warfare, I might be wrong. I think it was directed by Justin Lin.
Maybe. I don't know.
I know he directed some Community episodes. And you know what else he directed?
Star Trek Beyond.
Yes, and some Fast and Furious movies. but
Yeah,
Fast and
the
Furious, we
Furious
don't care
movies.
about
I don't know. My favorite one is still the third one,
that. Okay.
Tokyo Drift.
Did he direct the second Mission Impossible movie, or is that another guy?
I don't remember the directors of Mission Impossible.
Speaking of Mission Impossible, we have the same star of that movie.
Hey,
Hey.
For
look
this
at that.
movie.
It all came around. Perfect circle.
Yes, Mr. Tom Cruise. And,
The one and only.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched this movie probably since 2014. I was looking at it on Amazon, and I couldn't force myself to spend $4 to
To rent it.
rent it or whatever.
Gotcha.
That's a
So-
shame because it's a good movie.
Yeah.
But I'm going to read along as you guys talk about it, and I'm sure I'll remember. I kind of
All right.
remember it in a general sense
Curtis, do you know why I watched this movie originally?
because it's like the classic TNG episode Cause and Effect.
No, I was going to bring that up later, but no, it was because of Game of Thrones.
Oh,
We had HBO Go, so we could watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
This movie was on HBO.
oh,
That was the only reason we really
Watched it.
watched it.
And I didn't want to because we had watched Oblivion before this.
Yeah.
And that was a piece of crap.
The idea behind Oblivion.
It's a concept movie without a compelling concept.
Yeah.
so wait, the end of Oblivion is what he realizes they're clones of him or something.
He
He
realized
he
that like
realized
halfway
that.
through the movie
Yeah.
or something.
Oh, okay.
I think the end of the movie is where he destroys the mother alien ship
Yes.
that was controlling all of the clones.
Yeah. I do
Right.
kind of remember
and,
that.
and then he ends the cycle, and
Something happens.
one of his other clones that he had talked to
Oh, right.
comes back to the
because he
place
killed
where-
himself to destroy the ship or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah.
So, Oblivion came out the year before Edge of Tomorrow,
Ah.
which I think hurt it in the box office because Oblivion is a non-compelling concept movie, and this looks like a concept movie.
So people thought, oh no.
Not again,
Yeah.
which is a shame, but this movie has since found an audience.
Yeah. I think like the main reason we watched it was because we finished Game of Thrones,
Right.
and then we finished
For that
watching
year.
Yeah, and then we finished watching John Wick, and we were like, what else are we going to watch now?
That's
And so we just decided
I'll watch it, I guess.
may as well.
And it's really good.
it's a good movie.
I'm reading here they spent over $100 million to advertise this movie.
I do remember
Crazy advertising campaign. Like I said, I don't think it paid off
That's a lot of
because
dough.
for a period of time they were marketing it as Edge of Tomorrow, and then they switched to Live Die Repeat. So people are like, is it the same thing? I think there was confusion there, which didn't
Wow.
help anything.
Did they change that after the movie had already been released?
I don't remember. I really don't. I didn't watch it in theaters.
Because I feel like that's what happened because people made the connection that this was essentially like a sci-fi version of Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
That's one of the easiest ways to explain it. And then seeing that they then changed the marketing maybe to like bring people in with that.
Excuse me. I don't know.
Me neither. But
Curtis is reading.
he goes.
Yeah, I'm trying. It says in July 2013, Warner Brothers changed the title to Edge of Tomorrow. Warner Brothers president Sue Kroll said the title was changed partly due to negative chatter about the word kill in the title. So it was originally called All You Need Is Kill after the novel.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then
Right. That's nothing to do with their marketing cycle because the marketing cycle wouldn't have picked up until maybe the end of 2013. This movie released in 2014.
yeah. There's just so much to try to read. Oh my gosh.
If only you'd known we were watching this movie.
Well, I kind of did,
I'm
but I didn't.
I'm giving you shit.
Wow. Okay.
Don't
It's
pay
so
attention to it.
detailed. I don't know if I really care that much.
About all these things about the
Yeah.
movie? Yeah, I don't care that much about it either.
The home release's packaging downplays the original Edge of Tomorrow title in favor of placing more prominence on the film's original tagline, Live, Die, Repeat.
Right. And
Okay.
that, like I said, that's the marketing thing, which is strange, but
That is strange. That is strange.
okay.
Do I really sound like that? We'll talk about Mass Effect another day.
Julie asked us to talk about it.
She did. She messaged me. Well, we were messaging each other, and then I asked her if she had any ideas for things that we could talk about, and I had a sneaking suspicion that she would say Mass Effect because it's what we played that game.
I played that game.
You played it. I started playing it in high school.
I've never played it.
So between the three of us, I've beaten all three games. Ryan has maybe finished the first one. And even then, maybe not.
I think I did finish the first and second one.
You finished two? I don't think you ever got there.
I did eventually.
Interesting.
It took a while. I don't know if I played through all of three.
I know you didn't. You've watched me play quite a bit of it, and that's probably why you
Yeah.
never finished it.
Yeah. Because I saw the ending and I was like, okay, maybe I don't need to play this.
What do you mean? It's great.
What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
It's flawless. It's a masterpiece.
He.
Didn't they redo the ending?
At least once.
Oh.
I remember it's Mass Effect Andromeda, but that doesn't count.
Ah.
So the movie was released back in 2014, May 28th, in the U.S. I think it was released on May 28th in the U.S. in 2014. Received Like you said, I don't think it did very well, or did you say
I
that it
said
did
that.
very well originally, but it has then since gone on to kind of have a cult following, and it has decent scores, 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 71% on Metacritic. So at least okay to decent.
It's a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, a spider.
Yeah, there is a spider. Directed by Doug Liman, or Lyman. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how does this movie start?
With Tom Cruise waking up in an air helicopter?
Not quite.
That is at the beginning?
Nope. What I thought was kind of funny.
Oh, the news.
Yeah, it
right.
starts all off with news, which
I
I've
watched it
noticed
like a week ago.
I notice a trend with some sci-fi movies where if they start with like the news to kind of, do a bunch of exposition for what's happening, it kind of it's like 50-50 of whether or not the movie is going to be good or bad when they start it off that way.
I Am Legend, good movie.
Good movie.
Better odds than you get at the Dabo wheel.
Mm-hmm. It's a very loud bird. Sorry.
Mike's not picking it up. We're good.
Okay. Sounds good. But yeah, so the movie starts off with a whole bunch of news and press releases all talking about this asteroid that landed in Germany.
In Europe.
Yeah, in Europe. And then they find out that there is aliens inside it, and they're decimating Europe
For some reason.
for some reason.
And I actually like that. Like, the whole movie doesn't spend a lot of time examining the aliens or their reasonings for coming here. It's just like, nope, they're here, they're messing stuff up. Plot.
Sounds like another Tom Cruise movie, War of the Worlds.
Kind of.
Except it's less... War of the Worlds is less Tom Cruise action, more Tom Cruise, like...
Running around.
Sometimes running, yeah.
Running around, driving.
Sitting in a barn for half the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sitting in a cage.
For the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then all the... Yeah.
And then he's like, the birds. Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. I
So-
only watched the movie once.
The movie in theaters was so loud, they must have turned it up like a little bit extra, and then when the things make their weird alien noise, it was like, whoa.
4D.
Yeah.
Wow.
It hurt.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
I feel like that's one of the few movies where Tom Cruise does not ride a motorcycle. Or does he? 'Cause
No.
he does
No, he
in this
doesn't.
movie.
I don't...
And he does in Oblivion.
He has his
and in
class-
basically all the Mission Impossible movies. Except
he-
the first one?
He's got his classic car in War of the Worlds.
Okay.
Right.
And then his kid and then they get in a minivan.
And then they drive a minivan around until they get to that house, and then the neighborhood blows up. We've been to that neighborhood.
Yes, that was a
true.
fun trip.
That neighborhood appears in Community.
Yeah.
Coming around, circles.
Yeah.
One of the houses does. In the end of season 2? The fake clips episode.
Haven't gotten there yet. Working on it. I'm in season 2.
I don't remember.
Okay, well, we can talk about that later, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, so this...
News clips.
News clips. Then we see Tom Cruise on the news, and he's selling his exosuits, essentially, or he's the
being the
spokesperson.
recruiter guy.
Yeah.
He wants you to beat the alien invaders,
And
essentially.
he seems to be doing a pretty good job of that. He gets a lot of people recruited into the military to go use these suits, and after they also talk about the victory at Versailles, I believe.
Something like that.
And so they're like, this is a turning point in the war, so now we need a lot more support. And then this leads to
D-Day version 2,
essentially,
which I thought is nice.
yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. It was like they're storming the beaches, just like D-Day.
Evil in Europe.
Mm-hmm. History repeating itself, kind of.
Except with
Aliens.
weird aliens.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They kind of look like squids.
Squid aliens.
Sort of. Well, so from there we jump to when Tom Cruise, he wakes up. Oh, what's his character's name? Bill Cage.
Cage.
So Cage, he wakes up on his helicopter as he's landing in London, and he's
Yeah.
going to go talk to some general that was also on the newscasts, and I think he was
For General Mad Eye.
Mad Eye Moody.
Oh, is that the same actor?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm not entirely sure why Cage thought he had to go originally. I think
What do you mean?
because so he gets to go talk to the general,
Right.
And I'm not entirely sure if like Cage thought that he was just coming there to like try to sell him more mech units or what, because even he's a little like
Oh,
not
you're wondering why he wouldn't have known what he was
Yeah.
going to be doing. Well, the indication I got was that Cage is a member of the U.S. military, and he's sort of being given to the British military.
yeah.
So he wouldn't have necessarily known. There wouldn't have been necessary communication between those two military
Okay.
about what his position's going to be.
Well, either way, they kind of just spring it on him where he's like, yeah, you're going into combat tomorrow.
Right, but he's like, you'll be nice and cozy, like in the back.
Yeah. But even then, he's like still super afraid
Yeah.
of doing that with
Who wants to go die?
good reason.
Hold up a sec.
Holding. Well, he refuses. He gets indignant. It's like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm going to walk out of here.
Well, he also says that he wanted to like kind of blackmail the general,
All right.
or he's trying to talk his way out of it.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work. He starts running, and then he gets tased, and then he wakes up on a bunch of bags.
Yep.
And
He
we
gets
see,
kicked.
Yep, he gets kicked away. Kicked.
We see that
to the
scene a lot.
Yes. Kinda
Wake up, maggot. Something.
gets handed his boots and I guess a new shirt, and
Clothes.
that's where we're introduced to Bill Paxton's character,
Bill Paxton.
Sergeant Farrell.
Sounds
Yeah.
right.
Yep, Sergeant Farrell, I believe. Which is kind of cool to see Bill Paxton, in a sci-fi movie again, shooting aliens with
Except not really.
big guns. Yeah, we hardly ever see him actually
Do
shooting
anything. He
Yeah.
mostly just yells at people, the army people.
Yeah. For a second, Cage, he believes that he's going to be able to talk himself out of the situation, but Farrell's like, I have the orders to
Yeah.
take you.
You're going in no
Yeah.
matter what. You're going to try to talk your way out of it. We know you're a deserter or something. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, not only that, he's apparently been told that he's impersonating an officer,
Right.
which I guess the general decided he had to lie to get him in there or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that was a vindictive move by the general, by
Yeah.
General Mad Eye. Where he's like, screw this guy. He's being an ass.
I guess. I don't know. It was either way.
Ryan, it has to happen for the plot.
Yep. It just has to keep going forward.
And then we'll go backwards a lot.
Yes. Forwards and backwards.
Over and over again. Over the edge, over again.
That's just unhelpful.
No, that's down is up.
Huh.
Yep.
Anyways.
He gets introduced to J Squad.
J Squad.
Or
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
J
J.
Squad. And
Curtis just read that.
I did.
He glanced down at the right moment.
when we're first introduced to J Squad, so Farrell is doing like a really long speech the entire
Glories
time.
of combat.
Yeah, and then
He's being baptized.
something.
There's some religious parody in there.
Mm.
And while all this is happening, he goes through J Squad's little bunk area. He discovers that the guys that are in the squad, they were playing some poker, and there's a whole bunch of money and cards splayed out everywhere. So he picks up the deck of cards and he goes to the guys who are playing, and he like hands each of them a card, and then all those guys have to eat a card. Which okay, I guess it's kind of a punish. Yeah, it is a punishment. It's just
You don't want to eat laminated cards, or they're not exactly just like pure paper, so it's not
true.
Also, it wrecks their deck. They can't keep gambling after that.
I guess, yeah. So they unless somebody else had another deck of cards.
I would hope so.
Yeah. And then it cuts. He starts yelling, "Let's do some PT," and we don't see them do PT
Oh,
yet.
PT's personal training.
Yeah, where they just run and run.
physical training.
Yeah.
Something.
Physical. Yeah, that's probably.
And this is where I'm going to bring up a little ahead of the game, but cause and effect is that we're not shown the same thing every single time, which was the strength of cause and effect. We get to see different things. And so them cutting out that sequence early on means that when we see it later, it's not just boring repetition.
True.
True.
I can understand that.
Curtis, what did you think of the titular Next Generation episode, Cause and Effect?
It's great. Dr. Fraser Crane is captaining
he's
a ship.
captain of that ship.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot.
He has a beard.
He does.
Oh man.
It's too bad they never brought that back somehow.
Fraser Crane as a captain?
Well, just his character. And, all the other random people from the past who are in the next gen timeline. Scotty, Bones. Sure there's someone else.
Well, I think what's his name that played Bones died fairly shortly after that.
He died in 1999, so they definitely could have
Oh.
done it.
And I'm mixing up dates. Never mind. I'm crazy.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't remember the episode. Sorry.
How do you... Oh my god.
It's been a while.
Data starts shuffling cards. The number 3 pops up like a million
Oh,
times.
Yeah.
Threes. All threes.
Whoa.
Now Ryan's thinking of the
kind
episode.
Yeah.
I remember the threes.
Dr. Crusher breaks her glass every time
Every
she's in her
time, yep.
quarters. Can't get out of that.
Yeah. Which makes you think maybe the Enterprise can't get out of this. If that keeps happening, no matter what she does, and
Yeah.
she has the foresight.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this episode.
It's a good episode.
Good episode.
Yeah.
It's, I vaguely remember some scenes, but the rest of it it's almost there.
Well, enough
Almost.
hijacking this into a Next Generation discussion. As fun as that is, to actually get some engagement out of Curtis.
So.
Once again, just throwing shade.
Oh.
So we get to when
He's on the
Cage-
dropship. Or no, he's suiting up.
Yeah, he's getting suited up,
And he
He's-
doesn't know how to turn out the safety.
return it. Yeah, or how to do really anything in that suit.
Which is funny because he
Designed it.
does, well, he was...
He
selling
promoted
them.
it.
Yeah.
So he's working on that.
Dramatic irony.
He gets on. That's when he gets to the dropship, and he's real nervous. Some dude says that there's a dead man in his shoes or something.
His suit.
In his yeah.
So what these suits, they're supposed to be able to put up with the alien
Yeah.
weapons and blood, whatever. Doesn't the blood make them disintegrate
Right,
and stuff?
They don't know that.
Oh, okay.
That was the blood from the Alpha.
Oh.
The other ones just kind of turn gray and die.
Okay.
No. I think really all they did was just, let them run faster if they knew how to control them, jump a whole bunch, because you see, like, later on when Tom Cruise gets better at it, he's, like, acrobatic and, like,
It's an exosuit. What do you expect?
superhero-ish at times. But this is the first time when all of that is happening. He gets dropped. There's people dying all around him. The carrier ship that they're on got shot at some point.
Uh-huh.
And so everybody had to drop. Then finally he does. He's running around. He's trying to figure out what to do. He eventually regroups with members of J Squad after trying to turn around and go the opposite direction. But then Bill Paxton's character catches him. He's like, "You're not going anywhere. Let's go into war." And that's where everything kind of goes wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was spaced out. Sorry.
sure.
This says the invasion is a colossal failure.
What do you mean? It went great. Everyone died.
Farrell and J Squad are quickly killed.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. So they die, and then Cage sees Emily Blunt's character.
Does he see her the first time?
Yeah, he sees her.
Oh,
get
and she
shot.
dies.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So Vrataski, I don't know.
The one woman in the movie.
Well, there were like
Secretaries.
the secretary. There was another
right.
girl that
Yeah,
was
in J
J Squad, who reminded me of the hardcore
From Aliens?
from Aliens.
Yeah, I knew
that
where you were
girl
going with that. Yeah. Vasquez in
Yep.
Aliens.
who did like a ton of pull-ups. Yeah. She like held the heaviest gun all the time because she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So she kind of reminded me of that. But she dies very quickly.
They all do.
And so Cage, he sees Emily Blunt's character get blown up or shot.
Something.
Yeah.
She goes splat. Yeah.
And
He finally turns the safety off.
yeah, he does. He starts shooting, and then the alpha comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And
He's big and blue.
Big
and
blue eyes.
I forget if he actually shoots it,
I thought he did. He had to have.
or no, it was one of those big grenade things.
Oh,
or
was it?
one of those shells? He just like quickly grabs one, puts it in front of him, and then it charges at him, and it just explodes, and all the blood gets all over him, and he's like, ah.
And he wakes up.
Yep, and he wakes up on the bags.
And this happens a lot.
Getting kicked.
Getting kicked. Called a maggot.
Called a maggot. Here's the speech from Farrell again, and he's all confused.
Well, he says the speech again, but Tom Cruise is looking around. He's like, what's going on, huh? And then he pieces it together, and then he tries to convince them all that he knows what's going to happen, and then to tape his mouth shut.
I forget if that's like the
Second or the third time.
I love when Tom Cruise gets like, it's like so intense.
Right. There's Tom Cruise did an interview with Emily Blunt on Graham Norton show, and they talked about, or maybe it was just Emily Blunt giving the story about how when they were filming this, they had to be like in in rigs or whatever most of the time, and apparently it was like a really bad day, and Emily Blunt like made him feel really sad, or
She made sad something.
Something
Yeah.
about sadness.
because Tom Cruise is like generally a pretty optimistic person in general, but then
Being a
like,
Scientologist.
yeah, that video came up in my like recommended page for some reason recently.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
And here I was making an offhand reference.
no, but apparently, like, he was still trying to be really optimistic while doing this, and then, like, Emily Blunt just kept bringing him down all the time. So
She was probably saying negative.
yeah,
Negative.
we do not like saying negative,
Brings everyone down.
but positive.
Affirmative.
Affirmative. Hi, Allie.
Hi, Allie.
It's okay. I brought the other one. No. Okay.
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 Oh, okay. We usually don't have an audience.
That's true. Where were we?
It's like either the
Second or third time he's had his mouth duct taped.
Yeah.
He gets out of that. He gets the duct tape off right as the ship starts blowing up. He's like, "We're about to get shot." Boom.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So he drops down, and he's no longer falling on his face at this point, and he's landing
So making that
more.
distinction.
Well, the first few times he's just so not used to it, and eventually he just lands on his feet. And he gets to. I guess he already starts to try to remember where
Things
everything
are, what's happening, yeah.
because he tries to save Emily Blunt's character at this point.
And he's
starts
like,
trying to make the effort to.
Yeah, he's like, wait here for like a little bit, and then we can move up. And she pieces together what's going on with him because he's got details about what's about to happen.
So this is where she tells him to come find me when you wake up. And it's
Right.
like, what? How does she know? And then there's a big explosion, and he wakes back.
And everybody
wakes up
dies.
on the bags again, except for me.
You know what?
Anyways, yeah. No, I'm a big fan of his failed attempt to get to her, where he gets run over by the truck.
What were you trying to do?
Now we get to see the PT training. They're running around, and we don't know, like Groundhog Day, you don't know how many go-arounds he's in or what attempt he's on. It just keeps progressing, and he's figured out how to get the platoon to stop and get them into doing push-ups.
At a certain spot.
Right, where the trucks are going to drive by and give him a little bit of cover, and he tries to roll under the truck and just gets run over.
Oh.
A little sidebar, I watched a really interesting video of this guy who broke down the total number of times Bill
Murray.
Bill Murray's character relived the same Groundhog Day over and over again.
Yeah,
It's
I've seen
very
that.
interesting, so take a look at it if you'd like. But anyways, I don't remember what it's exactly called, but I'm sure you could find it.
All right.
Anyways.
So he finally finds Vrataski.
Tasky.
Yeah. And
And
He
he explains what's going on.
he has to walk out onto the testing area, I guess.
Training area.
Training area, and he's like all scared, and because all the weird fan things are swinging at him.
I don't get why he'd be scared. If he dies, he's fine.
I guess, yeah. But I don't know. He's probably still not a big fan of getting injured.
He explains it to her, and she takes him to meet Captain Exposition,
Dr. Carter.
whatever.
Mm-hmm. The dude from Game of Thrones season.
Oh,
4
that's
or 5.
Roach?
Yeah.
Rosh? I think it starts with an R.
Crazy dude who was friends with what's his name?
What's his name? Well, he was the guy who cut off Jaime Lannister's hand.
That's right.
Right, Curtis?
Sure. I don't know.
Game of Thrones is the reason we're watching this. We should make the connection.
Yes.
Yes. Good connection.
Anyways, so he starts explaining about how he's a crazy scientist, or he was deemed crazy because he came up with some sort of weird
Doodad.
needle thing that when you stabbed it
A
into...
MacGuffin.
Yeah. We don't know this yet, but he invented this thing that could be used to see the source of the mimics.
Right.
The what do they call it? The Omega. That's what they called it.
The Omega AI. O'Malley.
Yes.
Anyways.
This is also like, this is the first time he meets him, so he decides, I'm going to hold 2 fingers behind my back and ask him if he knows how many. So
But because we only see him one other time, it's so pointless.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the devil's in the details, as they say.
So this is where,
They explain the plot.
yeah, and how Vertasky had also had the power to reset the day at one point, and she can no longer do that because she had a blood transfusion.
Yeah.
And I guess without the blood in her system or in your system, it just doesn't work anymore. So
I suppose.
yeah.
I mean, if you're resetting it one day constantly, your body's not producing enough blood within that amount of time to replace what's there,
Maybe.
think?
Sure.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But take my word for it. I'm a doctor.
Just reminds me of that, like, there's an ad, or it's like a little slogan that was for TV shows, and one of them would be, not a doctor. I think it was like after House, the show House.
Show house.
Yeah.
I remember that show existing.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
Sometimes.
It's a funny show.
Didn't really watch it.
It was occasionally enjoyable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just know they drove off on motorcycles at the end.
Yes.
Speaking of motorcycles, Tom Cruise.
Ah.
We're not quite there yet. He does eventually ride a motorcycle.
For 3 minutes.
Yeah. Which was kind of his low point in the movie. We'll get there. Cage now understands that he needs to start training in order to get her and Vertasky to the Omega. They also explain how, I guess at some point you get to start having visions of the Omega.
Right, that bit didn't make sense, but
Yeah. And nobody had ever actually seen it. No human had ever actually seen it. So they were basing this all off of a theory.
a game theory. I don't think either of you get that reference.
No.
Nope.
That's a shame. Anyways, training montage.
Yep. It's also kind of a killing montage where he keeps getting shot in the head over and over again. So very reminiscent of the scene in Groundhog Day
Oh,
where
yeah.
he just keeps dying over and over again.
Yeah, Bill he drives off the road.
I broke my leg. I'm fine. I'll walk it off. She shoots him.
I'm not really hurt. Okay.
And then he has the vision
Mm-hmm.
of the Omega. And it's fake, but
We don't know that.
we
yet.
don't know that yet. And it was in some dam in Russia was the fake vision?
I think he said it was somewhere in Germany because there were German letters on
Some
it
dam.
somewhere. Yeah, in the mountains.
In the mountains.
So they're like, okay, we'll try to,
Now we've got to
Try to
figure out how to
locate it.
get off the beach.
yeah,
And then a montage of them trying to figure that out.
where each of them keeps getting killed,
Yes.
he and Vertasky, and it just keeps not working no matter what they do. And I guess this is supposed to be the part where the audience is supposed to realize that, Cage is starting to get feelings for Vertasky,
I mean,
kind of.
he spent every day with her for how long?
We're not even sure.
Right. So, I mean, basically Stockholm Syndrome is going to set in at some point.
Yeah. I guess.
I liked Curtis's thinking eyes there. It was like, oh,
Whole new level to that.
whole new level.
And this eventually is what leads us to Tom Cruise riding a motorcycle. I guess
Right.
he
Did the motorcycle happen before or after they got to that farmhouse?
was before,
Okay.
because this is where, so he steals the motorcycle and he goes into some bar
in London.
and after he does that, the power goes out. He goes out to look outside on a bridge and he sees that all the mimics are coming in to destroy London. So he's like, okay, so even if I don't do anything,
We're all dead.
we're all dead.
Just got to do something.
So that that gives him the push to try to figure out a way to really get off of the beach.
Yes.
So that's where we get to the point where they get to the
The van,
The van.
and the trailer.
mm-hmm.
And there's a mimic in the trailer.
Yep.
It happens, Curtis.
Okay.
So they destroy that. While they're driving, Tom Cruise or Cage, he starts trying to have a
Conversation.
mm-hmm.
A get to know you kind of conversation.
So he's trying really hard to like figure out what her middle name is and more about her family. And then I guess at some other point in a previous day, she had mentioned some other dude.
Right.
Not-
the dead guy.
Yeah. And then he was like really trying to push, so who is this guy? You've mentioned him a few times, must be important. And then she spills the beans saying, yeah, he died. And I saw him die a couple hundred times.
Every time.
Yeah.
And then he actually died.
Yeah. So now she's a bit scarred, I suppose.
Wouldn't blame her.
Yeah. This leads them to running out of gas, and they...
Like the Firefly episode, Out of Gas?
Not quite.
Oh.
Maybe a little.
I would just threw the title out there because I remembered it.
I guess the only... Well... Emily
He's
Blunt's
trying.
character does get injured at some point, so yeah, I suppose.
A bit of a stretch, but okay. Let's keep moving.
Yeah. They get to the farmhouse, and they discover a helicopter, and this is where Cage is really trying to convince her, let's just siphon the gas out of there, get in a different car, and keep going that way, rather than flying the
He
helicopter.
found the key and hit it.
Yeah. And he was having all these conversations with her. He like made coffee for her
Yeah.
after sewing up her injured shoulder. And she pieces together that this is not the first time we've gotten to this point, and you're stalling.
Well, yeah. The he slips up the 2 sugars.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you just didn't mention the 2 sugars,
If he had let her mention it, she probably wouldn't have figured it out.
maybe. And
Then she dies.
yeah.
She starts up the helicopter. Mimics come and kill her.
And he
Then
knew
he's
that.
sad.
Yeah.
Then he dies.
Yep.
Then he wakes up. It's like it's a big time loop.
Yep.
Rip. In the space-time continuum.
Okay.
Oh, actually, now that I think about it, maybe this did happen before he went on the motorcycle. I don't know.
You watched it today.
I did. The same, when he gets woken up on those bags, it all just kind of gets... It all gets crossed. And I
Brian
don't
now
know.
is Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember what day it is.
Nah. Some days, no.
Some days, no. Some days, yes.
But either way, they decide that, okay, instead of trying to just get to this helicopter and flying there, they should do something else. So this is when we discover what the techie tech device is that Dr. Exposition created. The weird needle thing that you have to stick into your leg.
That's later. Because he... after the barn bit where they both die, he decides he's just going to do it alone.
Oh, okay.
And then he gets there and he gets the helicopter and then he flies to the dam
Okay.
on his own. And then he gets there and the Omega isn't there. It was a trick, a trap to get him.
That's it.
And they're trying to keep him alive, like capture him. Then he tries to kill himself. The gun gets knocked away. And then he drowns?
Yeah, he drowns himself.
Yeah. Look at that memory.
Good memory.
It's like a week old.
Nice.
Nice.
I forgot about that part.
Hmm.
And then we get to the part where he's like, doesn't matter,
It's not there. Right. And there's like, what's this thingy? It's like, that's not the real one. I only built one that worked.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in General Mad Eye's office.
Yes.
He's got it in a safe. Well, they figure out it's in a safe, I think.
Yeah. So they have to... They don't show any montage of
The
them
break-in.
attempting the break-in.
Or
We're just showed
attempted-
the first successful attempt of them getting it.
Successful.
Yeah. Which was essentially like, them kind of darting back and forth between like an elevator and a couple doorways, and they had to spin around a few times.
Right. Well, she's like super well known
Yeah.
in like the military circles. So people would recognize her and stop them. And it was like, okay, now go into this doorway. Now, all right, now we can walk. Nope, over there, turn around, spin around. Okay. And we're in.
Yeah. And this leads to, so they get to General Mad Eye Moody's office, and he like has to keep explaining that, just let me keep talking and you'll be convinced that I am telling you the truth if you just don't interrupt me and believe everything I say. And
It
then he,
kind of
like-
works.
Yeah, it kind of works.
He opens the safe, gives him the doohickey.
And they start to leave, and he's like, so what do we do now? Never gotten this far before.
Don't know. They walk out the front door, and there's 80,000 people with guns pointed at
Yeah.
them.
So Emily Blunt quickly pulls out a pistol and shoots him in the head.
And then we cut to the next attempt, but they're in a car.
We're not sure if it was the next attempt or
Right.
whatever.
The next successful attempt, I suppose.
Yep, and they're in the car and they're driving, and the guy's like, what do I do with this thing? And she's like, stick it in your leg. It's like,
Big pointy thing, just...
I guess, I don't know. Maybe Dr. Exposition told her to do that,
Well, it's in the blood, so...
I guess.
And that's where your marrow is, which doesn't make sense, because that would have fresh blood, which wouldn't be...
I don't know, maybe it's the meatiest part that doesn't have any vital organs. I don't know.
I don't think this part of the movie was thought out that much.
Yeah, and I'm sure it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
Hey.
So we are... this is where he's able to see where the Omega is.
It really is.
Yeah, it's at the Louvre in
Paris?
Paris.
I once saw the Louvre completely rebuilt in Minecraft.
Interesting.
Wow.
Like,
How long does that take someone?
Like 1-to-1 ratio.
like all of the paintings, like
Probably
inside
not.
of it.
But it was really cool.
Cool.
That's nice. Anyways, so he discovers where it is, and they
Then their
eventually,
car gets flipped.
Yeah, they get flipped. He starts losing a whole bunch of blood. He wakes up in a medical center, and he's handcuffed and strapped to a bed.
They weren't able to kill him?
No, he didn't die, and he had a a blood transfusion, I
Yeah.
guess.
What's her name got knocked unconscious.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So
Well, it's been 6 years, Curtis.
Yeah.
that's something I couldn't really believe. It's like it's really been 6 years since this movie came out.
Yeah.
That was, wow.
Wow.
In terms of the things we talk about, it's very recent.
Yes,
That's true.
I think the only other recent thing would have been The Last Jedi.
And Picard.
That doesn't
And-
count.
And
Oh.
Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Noah?
Yeah.
If we had a more serious repertoire built up, I'm sure your statement would be way more accurate.
That's true. Considering what we're mostly talking about these days, which is random episodes of Star Trek.
We'll fast forward to episode 100 of this and be talking about season 2 of Gilligan's Island. We'll run out of things to talk about.
I'd talk about Gilligan's Island.
Those poor
It's poor people.
That's what we should talk about.
Galaxy
Quest.
It's an idea.
That is an idea.
It's the
Maybe
Star
we should
Trek-
save that for episode 100.
I
Ah,
like that. It's the Star Trek movie that we
Deserved.
deserved.
Not the one we needed right then.
Yeah.
Or something. How does the quote go, Curtis? You saw The Dark Knight in theaters on midnight.
that's true. Not the hero. I don't know. Sorry, my
He was there.
most recent, even coming close to anything Batman, is the Community episode where they're talking in Batman voices.
I'm Batman.
Yeah.
Isn't that like a Halloween episode where
Yes.
he's like standing
Yeah.
on the ledge? I'm good. Maybe not. I don't know.
Where there's a party in danger, I'll be there.
And doesn't he drag Pierce and
Jeff.
Jeff
Jeff,
out?
yep.
Yeah.
And everything
That's-
falls behind him. Yeah.
It's good.
That was that was
Community's a good
scene.
show.
Yeah, it is. Because it could be whatever it wanted to be.
Yeah. And it had these two guys. You might not know them. They're called the Russo brothers.
I've never heard of them.
Uh-huh.
I hear they've gone on to bigger and better things these days.
Right. You know, there are a lot of references to Cheers in Community.
I believe
And now
it.
that I've watched all of Cheers, I understand all those references. Shirley sometimes she's like, I hated Sam and Diane. Before I would have been like, I have no
I
idea
don't
what they're
know.
talking about.
Right.
Now I know.
Now you know.
It's good.
But it's also not just reference humor. It's also genre humor.
Right.
Parodies of genre things like Modern Warfare, which is a parody of action films.
Oh, yeah. Now the end where Jeff...
Oh yeah,
Jeff
up
just
in the
is like,
ivory tower.
It's
Full
so
on
dramatic.
80s action.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's straight up the scene from Die Hard, right?
yeah.
Dean.
Just a moment.
So where were we?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
They were
Blood
captured.
transfusion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he's trying to break himself out, and he's
He flips
failing
his,
miserably.
flips his bed over and he's just kind of hanging there.
And then apparently,
She got out.
yeah, Vertowski's got out really easily, and she's like, "I was out of here in 3 minutes. What's the matter with you?"
She's about to kill him,
He's
but
like,
then he explains they gave him blood. He's out. Blah blah blah. They have to come up with a new plan because they know where it is, where the Omega is. But they don't have
I don't have the luxury of
being able to plan and all that.
do
Oh,
it
yeah.
multiple times.
Shtick.
This is it. This is the time.
This is it. It is the time. So they're like, we need a bunch of idiots to come with us on this suicide mission. And they go
Just
grab
happen to
J
know the
Squad.
best idiots.
Yes.
Yep. And then that's a pretty funny scene because we kind of cut to black for a second, and then it opens back up to where the guy is talking about, and he knew my second grade teacher's name. He knew everything about him, everything about you.
Yep.
So that was a pretty funny scene. And they're still like not, even after that, they're still not convinced
I mean,
to go fight with him.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of nutso, right? Like,
You know.
this guy knows all this stuff about me, and he's asking me to go and like help him kill something that the military doesn't actually know about, and it's weird.
Yeah.
It'd be wonky.
Wonky.
Yeah. Wonky's a good word, Curtis.
The wonky tonky.
So then Vertowski comes from around the corner, and then they're all like, oh, yeah.
Okay, we're in.
We're in because of her.
The war hero's here.
Mm.
We can do it.
Yep.
But then they all die.
So then they get on a ship carrier. They're flying into Paris. And then we cut back for a second back to Bill Paxton. Who's
Right,
like,
he's like,
where's
"Where's
J Squad?
Just in their empty barracks.
And so they're flying. They're all nervous and trying to think of, what.
They get shot down.
Mhm. Which was
Stuff happens.
we eventually, Tom Cruise, he just kind of jumped out at some point after the ship kept spinning.
Sure.
Excuse me. And eventually he meets back up with the people that survived.
Oh,
in J
right.
Squad.
Yeah, he was swimming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for a little while.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Uh,
You meet back up at the crash site.
mm-hmm.
Some dudes stay behind to buy them time. They get one of the engines running so that they can
Yep.
use it as basically a powered surfboard.
Pretty much.
They go zoom,
Yep.
Zoom, zoom.
zoom, zoom, zoom.
Yeah, the other two guys. I think one of them was the guy that. I think it was the guy who was explaining to everybody that he knows everything about us. He was the one that stayed behind and
Don't remember.
exploded. And then it exploded.
Right. Everyone at that point is dead except for Tom Cruise and Blunt.
Mm-hmm.
Their characters. They get into the Louvre. They fall down a lot.
Yes. That's another thing that happens a lot in this movie. People just keep falling down.
Yeah. It's like into a parking structure essentially.
Yeah.
Just like flunk. Then they fall down another crack. Flunk.
Yeah.
It's like, ow, that would hurt.
So Vertowski hands him a shotgun, and she has like a bunch of grenades, and they're trying to get to, because they had to go through a parking structure, and then this thing was underwater.
Right, at the bottom of the parking structure, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And that whole area had flooded. I
Sure.
think.
Sure.
Sure. Okay, sure.
Sure. So
Indeed.
they're like almost there, and then they discover there's another alpha who is
Guarding?
yeah, I guess. And Cage can't really run all that well. He's like, he can barely really walk, I guess. So, and he was thinking of sacrificing himself to,
But he
let
wouldn't be
her do
good
it.
bait.
yeah, he wouldn't be very good bait. So then,
She's the bait.
yeah. So they kiss, and they're like, if we had maybe in another life or whatever.
Did they actually have that line?
Or it was something else. It was
I
like,
thought they just... I don't remember.
if we had more time, or I wish I
I
had
don't
gotten to know you.
Oh, that might have been it.
I think that's it. Because like he knows everything about her, she knows basically nothing about him at this point.
Be a very, like, strange first date.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That happens. She dies. He gets into the pool, but has to swim through the...
debris, I guess.
I think it's the metal bars that they use in concrete, right? The rebar.
I think so.
Yeah. You get stuck on that. The mimic jumps in, kills him, but he pulled all the pins on the grenades, and then he let gravity do its thing.
Yeah. Then it went boom.
Then it went boom.
And as that happened, this alpha mimic also dies.
Oh, I thought it was the Omega blood that got into him as he died.
No, it was the other alpha.
Maybe both.
Maybe both.
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 That's what I'm saying. Both.
A dying cage floats down into the Omega's blood.
Oh, it is the Omegas.
Called it.
There we go.
So now, does he have the ability to reset any day that he wants?
We're not really sure. But
These are questions for the sequel, prequel.
yeah.
The sequel prequel, because it could go either way.
Happening at the same time.
Yeah. No. Is that an interview with Tom Cruise? He says something like that?
Something like that. So let's finish
All right.
up and then we'll get to that interview. But so the blood gets absorbed into him, or he absorbs the blood, and then he wakes up back on the helicopter where he's just landing in London.
Which doesn't make sense, but whatever.
No. But maybe it's because it was the Alpha's blood, and it was like...
Omegas.
Oh, yeah. Omega's blood. It was like a lot stronger and could send him back further.
Maybe he had a choice at that point.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But he lands back there, and we see a news broadcast saying that there's a big explosion in France somewhere, and all of the mimics have just died for whatever reason.
They're dead, Jim.
So after hearing this, he then is no longer considered a deserter, and he just...
Well, because he never deserted.
Yeah.
All right.
He didn't technically. He just threatened to blackmail.
He didn't, but he hadn't done that yet, so that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Time travel.
Yes. Timey-wimey goofiness.
I see this as an absolute win.
Can we just put the image of Hulk
Please don't.
when he does that?
It's going to happen. Damn it. Darn it.
Someone wake up as a baby. Or
Let me guess, he turned him into a baby.
Somebody peed my pants.
I don't know if it was old me or baby me. Or me.
So he is now able to just walk over to Vrataski, and she's given him a little bit of attitude. It's like, what? What do you want? And he just kind of chuckles and...
Cut to credits.
Yeah.
Ha.
Movie ends there.
Ha.
Okay.
Yes.
Our first catch of the day.
Like you know how to fish.
So are there plans for a sequel prequel
Yes.
kind of thing?
So there was an interview that Tom Cruise did where they asked him, like, what's going to happen for this next movie? There are talks of another movie happening in this universe, and he answered that this movie is going to be both a sequel, a prequel, and happening at the same time as this movie.
So basically, he has no idea.
Oh Lord.
So who knows? We don't really know what's going to happen. I suppose there could be maybe more aliens, because Dr. Exposition, scientist dude, explains that there could be many asteroids out there that have this kind of parasite alien or whatever.
I don't remember that line, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
We're getting into real Independence Day 2 vibes, and that's not a good thing.
What are you talking about? I loved it when Brent Spiner came back and he woke up from his coma.
And then he had a Star Trek reference, like the first line.
Yeah.
Gotta get you to sick bay.
That was it. That was the best part of that movie, and that's a really dumb movie.
Yeah. So who knows?
Anywho.
We don't know what's going to happen for this next movie.
Tom Cruise doesn't know what's going to happen for this next movie. It might be Mission Impossible all over again, where he's just making it up as he goes along.
I mean, I don't mind that. I liked the last Mission Impossible movie.
It was pretty good.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, most of the Mission Impossible movies have been pretty good.
Henry Cavill, with
Especially-
a mustache.
Especially 3, when it was directed by Sir J.J. Abrams.
He's a knight?
Well, no.
Thank God.
He can't, I don't think, well, he's not under the authority of the queen. I don't know if she can
She can knight whoever she
Yeah,
wants.
she can knight
Can
whoever
she?
she wants.
She's a queen.
But those knights, like, they don't really get anything.
Especially
out of being
these days.
knighted.
When they're not actually a monarchy.
Yeah.
Bring back monarchies.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that just reminds me of another story of just from the Graham Norton show again. Sir Ian McKellen was telling a story about how he was at the palace with Dame Judi Dench, and they were just dancing. And eventually they just like danced away from the crowd, and they got to like the main hall where the thrones are, and they're like, I think this is the throne room. So they go over to the thrones, and they were like, we're just gonna sit on them.
Nice.
Isn't that like a crime?
They're knights and dames.
Right, but they're not the king and queen, so sitting on the throne for the king and queen. It's treason, then.
Ooh, we should talk about that movie.
Okay. It's a great movie, Curtis. Top notch.
Top people.
Top men.
Oh, yeah, top men.
There's a movie we could talk about, Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And the Crystal Skull.
Yes.
Oh, I
Wait,
I raised
what is-
his hopes and dashed them quite
What
expertly.
is the status of...
Indy 5, I
Yeah.
don't want to know. It shouldn't be made.
I feel like Harrison Ford keeps doing interviews saying that he doesn't want anybody to play Indiana Jones.
Okay.
He's the only one who wants to play it. Or there are other people that would like to, but he doesn't want anybody else to do it.
Okay.
Release
So end the
date is
series.
July 29th, 2022,
Interesting.
according to this.
Is Harrison Ford still going to be alive?
It's a good question.
Or will he have another plane crash and it'll all be ogre?
I'm just hoping Shia LaBeouf makes his triumphant return.
Oh, no.
Oh, Spielberg has departed the project.
Then it's all ogre.
He'll remain as a producer, and it's been reported that Logan director James Mangold might take over.
If he did, I'd have more faith in it, that it wouldn't be as bad.
John Williams will once again arrange the theme that Ford just can't escape. Dun,
He
dun,
couldn't
dun,
escape
dun.
Star Wars either, and then he did. And then he didn't.
Yeah.
You gotta wonder how much money they paid him for Episode 9.
Dun, 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 dun.
Because it really looks like he just came off the set of that other movie. Like, his hair isn't right. And they just kind of threw his costume back on him, and he's like, hey, kid.
That's probably what they literally had to do to
Yeah, I
draw
know.
as little suspicion as possible. Hey, kid.
But yeah. Final thoughts on Edge of Tomorrow.
It's good.
It's
Not-
good. I
it's-
need to rewatch it.
It's not flawless, but it's a fun action movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Better than Oblivion?
Yes.
Much better than
Infinitely
Oblivion.
better.
fun, entertaining, funny at times.
Yes.
Better than War of the Worlds?
Yes.
Yeah.
Assuming you're talking about the remake. Apparently, the
Right.
original is really good. I've never seen it.
The one
I
from
haven't
like
either.
the 70s?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Apparently, it's really good.
Never seen it.
Neither have I.
Better than
Possibly.
the Hobbit movies?
Yes.
I would say so.
Better than Star Trek V?
Nothing beats Star Trek 5.
Oh.
Ryan is entirely correct. Star Trek V was the pinnacle of the franchise.
Happy-
Willis Shatner knows it.
Happy anniversary to Star Trek 5.
Was that yesterday or the day
yesterday
before?
today? I don't know.
Oh. Bill.
Thank you, Bill, for your contributions.
I appreciate them, Bill.
There are a couple moments in that movie, but
The music's good.
Music is good.
I think that movie would have been saved with a rock monster sequence.
Yes.
Think maybe if they would have
The entire movie.
if they would have pushed to get it released in 1988 instead of 1989. Like, if they would have started production a whole year earlier, they probably could have had ILM and all the major...
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because all the
Right.
major guys were taken up by Ghostbusters 2 and Indiana Jones 3 and
All the
whatever
other
else was on
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
So,
Tragic.
sad.
We should review Ghostbusters at some point. Maybe when we learn more about when the next, because third Ghostbusters,
That release date got pushed.
yeah,
Did
Yeah.
it?
Well, I think
Oh.
that's
Pretty sure.
just due to
Yeah,
everything that's been going
because
on.
they can't film right now.
Yeah,
On the positive side, Mandalorian Season 2 finished filming before everything got shut down. So that
Nice.
will most likely release this fall, assuming their post-production
Oh, yeah.
is going smoothly. Which
Ghostbusters Afterlife, March 5th, 2021.
okay,
Hmm.
that's not too bad.
Yeah. Did they say, did Disney announce that they're just sending Artemis Fowl to Disney Plus? Did I see that somewhere?
I saw a lot of people talking about Artemis Fowl in some capacity. I assume it's going to be terrible.
I feel like it's gonna be released soon.
Like, really terrible.
Exclusively on Disney Plus, June 12th. Wow, that's like very close here.
It's in 2 days.
It's in 2 days. Wow.
I can watch it and be disappointed.
Yeah.
I never read the books, so I
The
don't.
books are good, I think.
Curtis, you
Mhm.
read the first 4 books, I think.
Correct.
And then
Are
he
there
wrote
more?
like 4 more.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
One of them was a prequel, I
Oh.
think. Then there was time travel. It got real wonky, and I gave
Oh.
up after book 6 or something.
Yeah, I mean, well, wasn't it like the third one ended and you thought, okay, that's it because
Right, and
whatever.
then the 4th one was partially a prequel,
Oh, was it?
I think.
I don't know.
It was goofy.
I haven't read that in a
Very
long
long
time. Feels like the first time.
Feels like the very
I have to
first
go.
time.
To the bathroom.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, so we will wrap this episode just in time before our SD card runs out of space.
Perfect.
Perfect.
And right before our battery dies.
Like and subscribe.
Subscribe and like.
Hi, Internet.